Thanks for tuning in. It's Tuesday and the 16th, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Not just your weather forecast, which is leaning a little more toward at least a wintry type of Christmas forecast, and that's, I'm trying to not go out on that limb very far. But indeed, winter weather could be making a return right around the time the holidays do. Between now and then, we've got a shot or two of some snowfall. We've also got some wet precipitation in your forecast, and some temperatures still going a bit back and forth. I'll pinpoint all of that in more detail in just a few moments. Headlines tonight include, but are not limited to, an update on that fire that I spoke of last evening, including some more details about the items that were lost, as the family lost everything that they owned. They're asking for some help, a few avenues that you can do so. Also, a sentencing for Kenneth and Ruth Gamble of McGoffin County earlier today in federal court in Frankfort. And I pick up the mountain line and a few details that everyone is understandably talking about this evening. A Johnson County teacher arrested in a meth arrest involving 2 individuals in Johnson County, an update on an auto accident victim, and much, much more. Before I get into all those headlines and others, let me say this. I started receiving phone calls very early this morning about the possibility of an auto accident on Route 30, maybe in McGoffin, maybe in Breathitt County, that involved a fatality. Route 30 also runs into Jackson County, and that is where a double fatality crash happened in Jackson County. And it was a cattle trailer that reportedly struck a passenger car. The drivers of both vehicles died as a result of the collision. It happened shortly before 7 o'clock this morning. Highway 30 in that particular part of the Kentucky area was shut down for several hours while the investigation continues. The identities of those involved and deceased have not been released as of airtime. Authorities are right now investigating as to whether or not the cattle truck was actually hauling goats to the livestock sale when, for some unknown reason, the driver veered across the road and struck the oncoming passenger car. And a few more details. I had a brief update for you last night, but a few more details tonight on the sentencing of the former mayor of Martin. She did get 90 months in federal prison, as I told you last night, for various crimes, including civil rights offenses and identity theft. That's after U.S. Judge Amul Dupar sentenced Ruth Thomasine Robinson, who's now 70 years of age, for conspiracy to violate civil rights, defraud the Social Security Administration, federal program, fraud, aggravated identity theft, and vote buying. Her 64-year-old husband, James Red Robinson, was also sentenced to 40 months in prison for vote buying. And in a separate case, although the mother and former mayor was also involved in that case, their daughter, Ruth Robinson, received a sentence of 45 months in prison for her conviction in the Social Security case. Going back to the vote buying case, it was a conspiracy that they were said to have been part of, a big portion of which was going to public housing and private housing facilities that were owned by Robinson, and taking absentees and already filling out those absentees as to who they were going to vote for, and pretty much forcing residents to sign on the dotted line, if you will, as if they were voting for those individuals, or risk being thrown out of their homes, either public housing or private housing units. There was a DUI complaint in Sagersville over the course of the weekend. City Police Officer Mike Nichols tells me earlier today in a phone conversation that they received Saturday night. They complained about a possible DUI vehicle in Sagersville. They found that vehicle in question and stopped them in the Sagersville city limits. 3 occupants inside. I'm told 1 female driving, 2 male passengers, all 3 University of Pikeville students, he says. They said they were returning from Bath County and going back to college. Police officers had reason to be suspicious of what they were doing and where they had been, believing they may have been trying to circumnavigate a road check that had been set up on the Mountain Parkway at the old toll plaza. Also, a strong odor of perfume alerted them to possibly the masking of some sort of a substance in the vehicle. They found in the trunk of that car a backpack or a book bag that contained several bags, a set of scales, and also some pot and drug paraphernalia in the car. That driver charged with driving under the influence. The 2 males charged with public intoxication, and there was also several other possession of marijuana and paraphernalia charges filed against some or all the individuals as well. Another drug-related report's coming up in a few moments about a Johnson County teacher who got nabbed in a methamphetamine arrest last night. We'll get to that in just a few moments. We'll also have some information for you how you can help a family who lost everything they owned in a structure fire over in Breathitt County, just a couple of miles across the line. And just to make it clear, they're not just are they from Breathitt County, but they also, of course, have strong ties and a lot of family here in the Magoffin County area as well. There's a couple of different avenues that you could use to help support them, and I'll let you know what those are, as well as a host of other headlines right after this. Well, as we daily have a general pattern or workflow, if you will, today we're not following that due to a few technical difficulties. So all headlines will be coming up together in one segment in just a few moments. So let me go on over to tonight's calendar announcements while I've got that opportunity. And the first is a birthday announcement brought to you by Magoffin Farm Bureau in honor of Maddie Rose Rao, 31 years old today. And from her dad and mom, Siggs and Riggs, happy birthday to you. A happy 31st day. Happy 31st birthday today to Maddie Rose Rao. The following announcement from our Magoffin County Senior Citizen Center. The Senior Citizen Center is giving out food boxes this Thursday, day after tomorrow, 2 hours from 12:30 till 2:30. Marlene Howard, the director, says, please remind everyone to bring a box, and they hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Food boxes this Thursday at the Magoffin County Senior Citizens Program, beginning at 12:30. The Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church Youth Group is presenting their Christmas program this Saturday evening at 6. Everyone, and that's you, and everyone is welcome and encouraged to attend their Christmas program. Saturday at 6 at the Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church. And have to always, as I do a quick double check, especially in light of a few hiccups we're having on tonight's program, to make sure we're not leaving anyone out. Nope, that's it for calendar announcements for this evening. Just a quick opportunity to remind you that this is how you get them on the program. Your News Today, P.O. Box 1443. Our phone is 349-3699, fax 3221. Your News Today at yahoo.com, and I'm on Facebook at Ritter Mortimer. Turning to obituaries for this Tuesday, I have received 2 incomplete announcements at this time from the Magoffin County Funeral Home. The first in honor of 48-year-old Charles Edwin Howard of Lebanon, Ohio, formerly of Magoffin County. He passed away on Monday. We understand arrangements are incomplete at this time, but will be announced later, as I said, by the Magoffin County Funeral Home. 48-year-old Charles Edwin Howard Jr. of Lebanon, Ohio, formerly of Magoffin. And the Magoffin County Funeral Home also says that they are working on arrangements in honor of 62-year-old Bonnie Roark of Sagersville, who passed away on today's date. Arrangements incomplete at this hour, but should be announced soon by the Magoffin County Funeral Home. And lastly, just a reminder, due to a few technical issues we're having, I'm going to pause for a commercial break. All of our headlines for this evening's show will follow those messages. Please stay tuned. A couple of updates on tonight's program. We'll begin with that of Sharon Fields, who was critically injured in a single vehicle auto accident yesterday morning on her way to work at the Magoffin County Health Department, where she has been a staple of that facility and institution for years. A vehicle traveling in the same direction and in front of Fields' pickup truck yesterday morning after 8 a.m. said in the rearview mirror it appeared as though Fields was pulling out to go around the vehicle at the same time that vehicle was making a left turn onto Lakeville Road. And in an effort to avoid the collision, both vehicles then swerved back to the right. And when Fields did, she lost control of her pickup truck, and it careened head-on into this group of trees just across the mouth of Lakeville Road off of Route 7 here in Sagersville. She was unresponsive upon arrival of emergency personnel, did gain some consciousness before being airlifted to the Cabell Huntington Hospital, and has since undergone at least one surgery to repair 2 broken vertebrae in her neck. She also has some other fractures to various parts of her body. We believe 2 of her ribs, as well as possibly to 1 of her legs, and she also experienced a great deal of blunt force trauma to various parts of her body as well. She was resting. She was also alert and has a great memory of everything but the accident and is doing well, but doctors at this time are cautioning at best a very long rehabilitation effort that may take quite some time for her to be able to return back to normal. But it is indeed a fortunate situation that she was able to literally survive such a terrible crash. She is still in the Cabell Huntington Hospital, we understand, at this time. That structure fire that I had just a few details on last night's program. It happened in Breathitt County, as I told you last night. It also happened sometime around 3 o'clock Monday morning. We now know a little bit more about those who were living at the home and who lost everything that they had. J.C. Montgomery, his son Jeremy Montgomery, his daughter-in-law and Jeremy's wife Chastity, and their two little girls, Kinley and Riley, as well as J.C.'s nephew, Dave Montgomery. These are a couple of photographs that were sent to me on behalf of a member of the family that shows the home as it was completely engulfed in flames. The cause of the fire is still unknown to us at this time. We did speak with a family member who believed that it may have been electrical in nature, but nevertheless, the home and all of its contents completely destroyed and a total loss on behalf of the blaze. And those individuals did make it out of the home. We do know that Dave and Chastity were taken to an area hospital for smoke inhalation and later released, but it was a total loss for everything that they had. The structure fire took place Monday morning around 3 a.m. We believe some of the residents awoke to the smell of smoke inside, and they were all able to escape, very closely though for at least Dave and Chastity, who once again were taken for smoke inhalation. It was initially a 4-alarm fire, as 4 Breathitt County departments did respond, nearly containing the blaze for a few moments. Their water supply was dilapidated. They called for mutual aid from the Middle Fork Volunteer Fire Department of Magoffin County and possibly some others, but to no avail. In an effort to help the family recoup some of their belongings and recover from the fire, there has been a GoFundMe account set up. You can go to GoFundMe.com to help support the Montgomerys rebuild. That is just a kind of a self-explanatory website where you can make donations through that site, and they will be forwarded to the Montgomery family. And there's also another way you can help on a more local level, as I did last evening, a few details that the family has forwarded to me on behalf of some clothing sizes that you may be able to use if you have some items that may fit members of the family. They would be greatly appreciated. I've also got some contact information for you as well if you could support them in any other form or fashion. In women's clothing, jeans size 13 to 14, and in men's, jeans 32, 34, and 30, 30. In shirt sizes, for women's medium, for men's large, and in girls, a size 4T and a shoe size for kids in the size of 9. And the phone numbers you can call at the bottom of your screen. Kim at 658-8579 and Molly at 349-7456. And of course, we'll always have these phone numbers here on record. If you have a need for them in the next several days or at any time, we would be gladly to forward them to you to make it be easier to put you in contact with members of the family and their support. Details on that Johnson County teacher involved in a meth arrest last evening, as well as a report on a Magoffin County couple officially sentenced in federal court earlier today for their part in the kickback scheme with Morgan County Judge Executive Tim Conley. Before we get to that, one quick look at the mountain lion that has so understandably garnered a lot of attention today. We're learning some details about how and why it was taken. This brings back memories, not of a personal sighting, but members of my family on a family piece of property back when I was a small child tracked a big mountain lion, and it was sighted on a few occasions. But I've only heard tell of a few other instances over the years. There have been some, don't get me wrong. It's not actually even a law to take a big cat because there are so few that it's not really an issue so much, says the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife officials, who in Bourbon County have confirmed that they did put down this mountain lion yesterday afternoon around 5 o'clock. A woman's dog that she was walking out on her farm and property spotted the animal, chased it up into a tree, and that's where it was when Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife officials came. They found the big cat, and they killed it in that particular location and then transported its body to Frankfort for a further examination. The cat was a male, about 125, 130 pounds, appeared to be healthy. So much, in fact, that they are investigating as to whether or not it may have been a caged animal and kept in a pet atmosphere, if you will, and may have escaped. That's still preliminary, an assumption at this point, but under investigation. Actually, the same officials for the state say this is the first time they have seen a mountain lion in Kentucky since possibly the late 1990s, close to 2000 or so. There have been calls in the past and a few photographs prior to, but it's been a long time since they've seen anything of that nature. Going over to Johnson County now, a methamphetamine arrest, actually two last evening. Johnson County Sheriff's Department says that two men, including one identified as an employee of the Johnson County education system, have been arrested. Last night around 7:30, Sheriff's Deputy Tim Clark, and District 2 Constable Bob Hyden found a parked vehicle at the Thialca Park while they were out on patrol. And upon investigation, they found two men inside a white Volkswagen in that park. Clark then observed drug paraphernalia inside the car, and after they began to investigate and question the two, they also discovered a backpack which contained methamphetamine precursors, and they also found two active shake-and-bake meth labs on the dash of the vehicle. The man behind the wheel of that car was identified as 34-year-old Timothy M. Baldwin, while a passenger was also identified as Michael C. Peters, both of Paintsville, both arrested for manufacturing methamphetamine in the first offense and possession of drug paraphernalia with the intent to buy or possess. Baldwin and Peters were taken first to the Paul B. Hall Medical Center for decontamination and medical clearance, and then they were lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Jail. The Kentucky State Police DESI unit was called, and they came in to disassemble the active labs, and they were also assisted on scene by Deputy Byron Fairchild of the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. And since officials within the Johnson County school system have confirmed that 34-year-old Baldwin was employed as a special education teacher at Central Elementary in Johnson County, Superintendent of Johnson County Schools also says that they are taking all precautions to follow the situation, the investigation, and then deal with the matter accordingly. And the Sheriff's Department requests that any legal activity that you may have some knowledge or suspicion of can be forwarded to the Johnson County Sheriff's Department at 789-3411, and as always, they need your information and not your name. Dauphin County couple Kenneth and Ruth Gamble were officially sentenced today in federal court in Frankfort. You may recall, as we followed the case along, they had weeks ago changed their plea from not guilty to guilty on one of the 6 counts against them, while the United States dismissed all five other counts related to a kickback scheme for construction and repair of roads, bridges, and culverts in Morgan County over the course of several years. Their indictment detailed that at least 6 bridge construction projects were given to them by Morgan County and Judge Executive Tim Conley between 2012 and 2013 only, and for each and every bridge, Conley was given $15,000 in cash on behalf of Gamble's company. All told, they were able to verify at least $120,000 in kickbacks were given back to Conley over the years by the Gamble's company, while they received about $1.1 million in contracts. A clerk with the federal courthouse in Frankfort tells me that Kenneth Gamble was sentenced to time served, which equates to an overnight stay in jail after the charges were initially filed against him, but also to 2 years of supervised release. Of those 2 years, 6 months will be on supervised home incarceration. As for his wife, Ruth Gamble, she received pretty much the same sentencing as her husband, with the exception that instead of 6 months of supervised home incarceration, she was sentenced to a period of 4 months of home incarceration during her 2 years of supervised release. All fines were waived except for a mandatory special assessment of $100 per charge, and the sentencing also appears to reflect at least part of the plea agreement where they agreed to cooperate fully with the United States, waiving a right to appeal, and then, of course, testifying, we understand, against Tim Conley. Now, his case has already been heard. He is set to be sentenced on January the 6th at 10 a.m. And the final word tonight goes to your Licking Valley RECC forecast. Going back to this morning, started off at 38. Hit 52 here at the newsroom today, not too shabby. We've also seen some areas of drizzle that will continue into your overnight, all under cloudy skies, with a low above the freezing mark at 36 degrees. So pretty much an average day in some respects, but we do have 2 hints, and a hint is a good way to go, I think, with that. 2 hints of wintry weather in the forecast period, while we're getting a little clearer focus as to what the holidays may entail. Before we get all excited about that, let's talk about your Wednesday. We have those areas of drizzle tonight that will continue into your Wednesday forecast up until about mid-afternoon or so. Daytime highs should climb to right around 42 degrees and then just plateau right there. We'll see that drizzle wind up, but we won't see clouds making a move as of yet. Mostly cloudy skies start to finish on your Wednesday. Temperatures tomorrow night will be below freezing, an estimated 28 degrees. Thursday is the first of two potential weather makers in our forecast. A slight chance, to the tune of about 30% of rain and or snow early through mid-afternoon. And after temperatures, of course, get above freezing, any flakes we're going to see with them will change to snow. I'm not looking at a whole lot of either on your Thursday, but a chance thereof. Those chances of precipitation should be out of here by Thursday night, leaving us with maybe a few sprinkles, a few flurries before 9 or so. But otherwise, just a cloudy evening and a low of 28. Friday is partly sunny. It's going to start off clear and with some sunshine. Temperatures dropping down to 41. Lows that night of right around freezing will be accompanied by another chance of some rain and or snow. Not a big chance, not a big weather maker, but a few flakes could be seen flying about. And then maybe carrying on over into your Saturday, where the best bet of precipitation in the whole forecast indeed is our Saturday. And temperatures are hovering right around 39 for the high, 34 for the low. A little sway here or there. We could see a few flakes flying around for the first half of your weekend. The latter half of which we should see temperatures holding pat in the low 40s, low of 28 for nighttime lows, highs around 41 again, mostly cloudy and calm. Nothing in the way of precipitation at all on your Sunday, but just cold and cloudy and calm. Don't forget that one. We like to throw calm in there when we can. We'll start off next week with a little sunshine on your Monday, 42 and 30 for your high and low. Tuesday, I've got mostly cloudy and 46, and while there is going to be a lot of energy, I'll say, in a few systems that could give us a little chance of a few flakes towards the latter part of the week, which of course is Christmas. It's a limb I'm not ready to tread out on at this time. In fact, that's all I've got time for. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of the show. Tune in back here tomorrow night for more of Your News Today. Thanks for watching.